Hello everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. In this video, we are asking the question, what the heck did producers not let happen during the rose ceremony that this contestant right here tried to stop? Now, Reality Steve reported night one of The Bachelor that there was a halt to the rose ceremony, and there was sort of a, I don't want to call it an uprising, but contestants that said, hey, we didn't even get a chance to talk to Zach. So even though it was sort of implied that he would get to talk to everybody, and that's what the show makes it out to seem, he doesn't get a chance to do that, and the producers cut this part out. I'm going to share that with you. And some more about our friend Lekka, I believe, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Lekka here talks a little bit about her Tamil heritage and what she wanted to say when she met Zach versus what actually happened. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content. Going to be live at 10:30 this morning. And also Bachelor Rush Hour every afternoon, the afternoon podcast for your rush hour drive home, Bachelor Rush Hour. All right, so we know she licked Zach in the ear. She's like, I got to tell you something, lick. And then, but here she tells you exactly what she wanted to share. We'll read between the lines because she's not allowed contractually to say, what actually went down. But, of course, she, in the end, operates on her own free will. No one forced her tongue to touch his ear. But of course, there could have been a more, culturally diverse entrance for the first contestant of Tamil descent. Here's what she had to say.
In the airport, I'm flying to Orlando.
And for those listening, the question is, it was an Ask Me Anything. Someone said, proud that you are the first Tamil contestant to be on the show, and here's her response.
Go to the PGA golf tour, so stay tuned for content on that. But I figured I'd get to rest of your guys' questions. Thank you again. Like I said, I got hundreds of messages from you guys, from the Daisy community, wishing me luck, and I'm sorry there wasn't much airtime for me. I felt like I did what I could. They definitely had stuff they could have shown, but they chose not to.
So she says they have stuff they could have shown, but they chose not to.
But it is what it is. You can't dwell on the past. It was cool. It's a first step forward to, our community being represented more. And, hopefully it just grows from there. I cannot comment.
The question was, what told you to lick his ear? Please say it was the producers, or who told you, I should say.
On that, but I will say I totally owned the lick, and I don't regret it. But originally what I wanted to do, and it was my mom's idea, in my culture, we put a garland of flowers over each other's neck when a couple gets married, and the flowers represent beauty, happiness, and excitement. So I wanted to have, put it on him and have him put it on me and wish him a journey that was full of excitement and happiness that unfolds into a beautiful journey.
And how kind is that? Now, forgive me if I'm getting any of this wrong. I knew less than nothing about the Tamil culture and the language, which of course, I say of course, but what I've learned now is one of, if not the oldest languages in the world. It has modern languages like like Thai and others that use the same alphabet that come from this language. So it's kind of like a Latin. Now, of course, Western education, we learned Latin was the root of the love of the romance languages and this and that. But I personally learned very little about Southeast Asian culture, specifically the Daisy culture, which autocorrected to Daisy in her closed captioning, but that we'll get into in a second here. Let's finish what she said. She's got 5 more seconds here, and then I'll share what Reality Steve said actually happened.
But unfortunately, I didn't get time with him, and that never happened.
She said, I didn't get time with him, and that never happened. Here's what Reality Steve had to say. Lekka stopped the first rose ceremony in the middle of it to tell Zach she tried to talk to him the entire night, and that producers kept reassuring her she would at that rose ceremony and would not take place, and that the rose ceremony would not take place until Zach got to talk to every girl first. Well, that didn't happen because Lekka and others never got to talk to him night one. This is common for night one, so nothing new here. But will it get shown? Probably not, because Lekka calls out production when she stops the rose ceremony, and I can't imagine they show that. And oh yeah, out of the limo, Lecca licked Zach's ear. So we saw that. Not sure why or how it went over, but she didn't get a rose night one. So all she wanted to do was put a garland of roses around his neck and say some happiness and prosperity for him on this journey. That's all she wanted to do. And they were like, let's not do that. We don't want to confuse people that don't understand other religions. This isn't about growth and learning about different cultures that exist. It's about jamming down a couple licks onto the ear. And of course, questions been asked, is The Bachelor just a Christian dating show? For a franchise that's supposedly pivoting towards inclusion, they are excluding anyone who isn't a religious Christian. And we, of course, know in the past that Jewish fans of the show might know this, that any mention of Jewish religion in past seasons was actually edited out. Jason Mesnick had said that on his season, that he kind of talked about being Jewish and just things that, I mean, I think as an audience we can handle that. I think we can be inclusive of different religions. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right, folks? I don't know. So here's a comment from somebody who knows a little bit about Lecca's culture. She was, Tamil is a prominent language in culture, and the Tamil language is the oldest language in the world. It's over 5,000 years old and began appearing in work as early as 3000 BC. However, Tamil people have faced persecution and genocide for many years. I would recommend taking a look at the Sri Lankan Civil War and the Tamil genocide. So yes, it is a big deal to have the very first Tamil contestant. I apologize for any inaccuracies or misrepresentations. Me too, if I'm getting any of these names wrong. I looked them all up. But here's a clip from the 17th second here, just to educate us a little bit, which we weren't able to do on the show. But, you know, I do this YouTube channel, not just to bring you guys news, but to learn a little bit myself.
Tamil is considered a classical language in the same manner as Latin, Chinese, or Aramaic, meaning that it can be traced back in its intelligible form thousands of years, at least 2 centuries before Christ, one of the oldest attested languages in South Asia, with most of the ancient texts in the north written in Sanskrit, although in the south, Tamil was the secondary lingua franca of the region, effectively making them equivalent to the Greeks of South Asia. Evidence of Tamil traders has been found as far as ancient China, East Africa, Egypt, and many of the surrounding regions, and various empires of South, and yes, even Southeast Asia had Tamils at the helm. But how did the Tamils even get there in the first place, and what are the origin and evolution of this people group? Evidence suggests that the first humans to ever inhabit the land that is now known as southern India were likely similar to the diminutive dark-skinned islanders in the Andamans and North Sentinel Island, referred to as Negritos by some, with other archaic Eurasians intermixing some tens of thousands of years ago to create the Vadoid phenotype. As mentioned in my video over the Dravidians as a whole, the Dravidian family almost certainly has its origins in southwest Eurasia, likely modern-day Iran.
So very interesting that they had mentioned that the origins of this Tamil people actually kind of commixed with the people that are in the North Sentinel Island, which is one of the only untouched civilizations that still exists. We know there's obviously civilizations that have not been introduced to modern society that are in the Amazon and other kind of excluded parts of the world, but the North Sentinelese people, that's the island where people have been have attempted to approach it, and they've had weapons drawn on them, and people have been killed, and it's been decided that the North Sentinel Island will just be left as it is. So it's literally a people that have just existed untouched by modern society, which is cool, and it's nice because no one's here to say that modern society is any leads to any more happiness than the people of the past. But what's interesting here, and I didn't know before from Lecca, is that the Tamil people have really branched out into a whole vast array of continents, really. I mean, here we are in Los Angeles discussing that this is the first Tamil representation on what it really is, for the most part, a Christian dating show. Now, it's not a Christian-sponsored dating show, but, you know, when there's group prayers and things, it's kind of centered around the idea that most of these contestants come from a Christianity, which is a predominant religion within our country, although our country does not have a state-sponsored religion. We all know that. You might, some people might be surprised to hear that because in certain states and regions it is so intertwined. But of course, we do have a separation of church and state. So anyway, I know this was complicated to talk about because it's a lot of content and it's something I'm just learning. And I wish Lecca had a chance to speak to Zach and share a little bit of her culture. And maybe she thought she would have had that chance. And then she gets to the rose ceremony. She's like, I was told I get a chance to talk to you. So like, I'm a cool person too, Emerging out of one of the oldest cultures of India, Tamil Brahmin weddings emphasize the celebration of heritage and customs over displays of grandeur. Exploring the depth and intricacies of Tamil Brahmin wedding traditions, we bring you this installment of the Wedding Tradition series, a kaleidoscope guide to different regional cultures spanning rituals, customs, fashion, and more. So they talk about the different traditions, and I don't know too much about the culture of Indian weddings, although they are so beautiful when you do see them. They are so different than what a lot of people in Western world have for their wedding traditions, and I think that's great. I think it's great to share different cultures. I think it helps expand the mind, and it helps build empathy for people that may look or sound different than you and I, and we want more of that. But unfortunately, we didn't get it on this first episode of The Bachelor, and maybe, if we want to give The Bachelor producers any grace whatsoever, maybe they just didn't have time to show it all. But of course, there was plenty of other things that might have been gratuitous in nature, and I think a few, maybe 30 seconds or so would have been something to begin the conversation, but we don't have it, folks. All right, well, that's it for me for this video. More content coming your way right after this.